See, you really, when you talk about Bitcoin, it sells me on it so hard. Maybe
Right.
I'm just a little too impressionable and juvenile, but like, you're really selling me on it.
Andre doesn't even have to say anything. He just says the word Bitcoin. Jack's like, yes, sold. I'm in.
yes.
I'm in.
Bitcoin
You're
good. Oh, okay.
Wait a minute, but why do I have to sell you on it? What is a non-selling point for you? That means you're
For Bitcoin?
That means you're averse to it. Why don't you like it then?
Well, it just went from like 60,000 to 20,000. And for anyone, look, I have very limited knowledge of cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And just from any outsider seeing something do something like that, when compared to like index funds, which are nice and safe, or real estate, which doesn't generally do the same thing in such a short span of time, it's very, very scary. You know,
Yeah.
so I do allocate a certain portfolio percentage, mainly just listening to what Graham says. You know, he said 3 to 5%, and that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm at like 5
Yeah, what
to
if you?
7%.
It's surprising that you say that, Jack, because you're the guy who invested. You had like 16 grand invested in Dogecoin.
I was just about to say that. Says the
that's
guy who
different.
owns
most
Doge.
volatile thing
No.
ever.
That's different. It was going up. And okay, and that is
Dogecoin
why
only goes up.
Yes.
Bitcoin could go down.
a lot of that was about principle. And honestly, I'm gonna say it, a lot of it was about proving you wrong. Just because I was spiteful.
But I just want to say it is lower today than the point I told you to sell at originally.
It's lower today than the point you.
Yes.
Yeah, but I sold at twice what you told me to sell at.
Well, I've been telling you to sell along the way.
That's.
But the point being,
if I sold it the first time you told me to sell, I'd be up like $100.
It's still lower than that point where I was like, hey, you should probably sell.
All right.
What's your
That's
most
fair
speculative investment right now?
Right now, well, I got probably the power of like 800 to 900 shares of Palantir.
Oh wow. So you mean options trading?
Well, I have
Look how he
3.
calls it the power of.
The power.
Well,
No, you
like
can't
like
just say I got some
see, I
call
don't-
options.
Yeah, okay. So I have like 3 or 4 call options, leaps. So like way out in 21, 22, way in the money. So like strike price, I'm talking like $7.50, $10. And then I think I have 400 or 500 shares. So like 800. I effectively.
I like how you just use options trading language, and you're like, oh, for people who don't know what Bitcoin is, I'm way in the money for this. Like, what did you just say?
Yeah. So
Right. Strike price
effectively,
is
I'm
$7,
owning,
yeah.
effectively, I'm owning 800 or whatever. Shares.
800 shares.
Yeah,
And how
Palantir,
much
which
are they
is
worth?
they're $26.
And the grand total value of them.
I'm not sure. So like the options that I bought were about $1,000 each, so $3,000, and then 400 or 500 shares of Palantir, I guess would be like 15 grand. Yeah, 15 grand.
15,000.
Yeah, so like $18,000 in Palantir, and that's like for me, that's like a ton of money. That's
What's
like
your portfolio value in total?
wait. So what are you?
Wait, so
get a
what are you
relation
asking?
here.
What are you
What's the
asking me
question?
exactly?
I want to compare your investment that you consider is the most volatile or the most risky to your actual investment portfolio.
So you're asking how much money do I have in the stock market?
Well, just in general, how much are you investing?
Wait, so let me get this straight. So you're asking stock market investment. What I
No,
have invested?
I'll answer it. As,
No, the guy behind you.
I'll answer it. As long
Me
as
or Graham?
is it
Which
okay
one?
for me
Yeah.
to say, Graham?
What? Why would?
Okay, I was-
Is he
I
your
wouldn't care.
daddy?
No, I'm just curious. Yeah.
You don't
Okay.
have
So,
to ask my permission.
all right. In Robinhood, I think I have like $55,000. In Vanguard index funds, I probably have like $80,000 to $90,000. And then in M1 Finance, I have about 70. So 150. So about
215.
200,000.
Okay.
Is that 215? Maybe
215 or
215,
so.
220.
Yeah.
And that's how much I have invested in the stock market.
And that counts Palantir,
yeah, and that counts Palantir.
which is about 15K.
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's less
Well,
than
Palantir is a kind of a newer
7%.
stock.
Yeah, 7%.
7%.
Yeah, IPO'd in the last year, and it's a newer tech stock. It's a little more volatile, but then again, I like the stock.
All right.
So I guess that's my
All
most
right,
speculative.
DFV.
I have more money in individual stocks like Apple. I think I have like $30,000 in Apple, but then again, I wouldn't consider that more speculative than having 18 in Palantir.
No, absolutely. But 7% is not that much. So if I were you, I would definitely swap that 7% Palantir with Bitcoin, and no problem. You'd be fine.
I have money in Bitcoin. I have 5 to 7% in Bitcoin.
5 to 7%. All right. So
Yeah.
you're fine.
Yeah.
Now, why do I have to? I don't have to convince you with
no,
Bitcoin.
no.
You're
I'm
in
just
it.
saying now you're
in
making
it.
me want to go to maybe 10, 15%.
Could, Jack. Honestly, you could go 15% Bitcoin.
I have the risk tolerance.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I'll tell you this. I put 10% of my net worth when I reached $1 million in Bitcoin at the end of 2020.
Uh-huh.
And it pretty much 10x at its peak. So crypto, by no intention of my own, kind of became 30 to 40% of my net worth.
So you put in how much initially?
100 grand.
Which was what percent?
At the time, about 10%.
10%.
Yeah.
And then it is now.
About 40.
Which is how much money?
Roughly $1 million.
Oh,
Yeah, roughly.
That's pretty good. That's
not
that's
bad.
incredible.
It's really good. Yeah. So
really
I'm
good.
looking for places to put it so that I can start earning
wait. So
interest
you
on
turned
it.
from 100,000 to $1 million,
So
but you said it 5x'd.
No, I said
No,
it
10x.
at its peak.
10x.
I think that's our
Oh, at
title
the
right
peak.
there.
Yeah,
at its peak.
Got it.
So-
I got the title.
yeah, that's incredible. Wow, Andre, I had no idea it was like that, man.
Yeah, no,
Good
it's
job.
really cool. But I've been investing in Bitcoin since 2014. I just didn't have that much money
Right.
to put into it at that time, and I didn't really fully understand it. And I'm still trying to understand it. It's like the longer you're in Bitcoin, the more you learn, and the more you realize how much you don't know about it.
See, I think that's a little hard to stomach for new investors that aren't so familiar with Bitcoin. It might deter them. It's like if they think that buying Bitcoin is much more complicated than buying a house, which to a lot of people probably does seem like that because people have houses.
Right.
Then it's going to deter a lot of people. Like getting and starting investment properties is hard for people to stomach because it's just like you have to know how to fix this. You got to know contract. You got to know this.
That's not true. The difference between real estate and Bitcoin is that real estate, you need a lot of money to get started with, relatively speaking. With Bitcoin, if you try to introduce Bitcoin from a price appreciation perspective, if you're like, hey, I've got a cool opportunity for you to 10x your money, that's terrifying. I would never take that investment.
Sure.
That's why if I'm talking to somebody about Bitcoin, I'm never going to say, look how much money I've made with it. I'm going to tell them about the Federal Reserve, and I'm going to paint this picture of how money works and what it is and how it's exchanged and what Bitcoin, the Bitcoin story in this world. And I think once you understand the monetary system relatively, you don't have to understand it to the full degree, but just a little bit of the basics, I think you start to understand that Bitcoin is not a risk at all. If you look at it from a price perspective, which is what I think Graham was doing for a really long time, then it's absolutely risky. It seems like a scam. He's like, I don't want to do this. So I wouldn't think about it in terms of price. I would think about it in terms of the narrative and its place in the world.
The use cases do make a lot of sense, but then again, it is just so much information because it is like it's so new.
It's overwhelming.
And I feel like we haven't even explored its full capabilities yet. So like I said, I think it could deter some newer investors. And I'm sure if there was some sort of like Bitcoin encyclopedia or something that people could access with like a simplified version, if you know of any.
It's called YouTube. It's called Andrei's channel.
That's true.
Well, I'm not a crypto channel, but I do a lot of crypto content. And the thing that I guess upsets me the most is that a few years from now, the people that are learning about Bitcoin now, that are just getting their feet wet, they're gonna miss the boat in the next few years. It's gonna be unattainable to even own one Bitcoin.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like I said, countries are gonna buy in, institutions are gonna buy in.
I wouldn't be surprised if one day each Bitcoin is worth like $1 million.
That'll happen, I think, before 2030.
See, but if you are that bullish on it,
Yeah.
why 30 to 40% considering you have such a strong income? And
Right.
that's not going anywhere. And you have a loan on your house? Do you still have
No,
debt
I
on
paid
it?
it off.
You paid it on cash,
Yeah.
right? So why not
Unfortunately, yes.
why not just go in on Bitcoin? You could invest $1 million into an investment property or two, and then that will basically ensure that you're safe for the rest of your life, considering
Sure.
you have your current house paid off, and then just everything else Bitcoin.
No, that's a great point. And the reason I'm not doing that is because I'm also risk averse. And I think there are things that we don't know. And you don't know
that's a
what's
good
going to
point.
happen. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I fully believe in Bitcoin. And if I was a bigger risk taker, that would be the smartest move right now. Because Bitcoin is going to appreciate far more than anything the stock market's going to do in the next 10 years.